Hello, welcome to Soccer Yanks. I'm Dave.
And I am Dan.
This is a Soccer News Day podcast.
And we are going to be bringing you the beautiful game from the American perspective. Or at least we're going to try.
Very, very hard. Hey, have you guys checked out our redesigned website?
I hope you have. We spent a lot of time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears.
New logo.
Yeah, new logo, new site.
Fantastic.
Same old bat address.
Fantastic graphics done by Soccer Yank Dan himself.
I don't want to take full credit, but okay.
Okay. I think
we had help. We had help. We
had a lot of input, and we're happy with the final product. Hope you guys enjoy it. Moving on.
So, the media ruled Arsenal done because they had lost the top of the league to City. And what did City go ahead and do? They gave it right back.
They did.
They gave it right back. They suffered their first loss in what feels like an eternity at home. It's the first time this season they've dropped any points at home against Jose Mourinho and his small horse known as Chelsea. That's a good name for a small horse, Chelsea.
Come on, Chelsea. Yeah, I don't know. City. They got the Aguero knock again. Silva, I think picked up a little bit of a knock too.
He played though. Nasri's still out.
Fernandinho's got like 5 weeks, right?
Fernandinho was the big one because they've put in Di McKellis in the midfield, and he's played there. He played as a defensive midfielder in the past when he was younger, when his hair was less.
It was thicker.
It was less porn star, like less retired porn star, and more
Greek.
young Argentine.
Yeah.
I actually think that Di McKellis starting was one of the biggest factors in City's naivety in the team that they put out against Jose Mourinho and Chelsea.
Yeah, it was very stagnant, from what I hear.
What the
play itself?
Well, I mean, it seemed like it was counterattack on top of a counterattack on top of a counterattack. I mean, City is actually lucky to not have conceded 2 or 3 goals. I mean, the woodwork was shaken the whole match. I think Chelsea hit it 2 or 3 times. The man of the hour, outside of, I guess, the tactical genius of Mourinho, which, every time I say that I throw up a little bit in my mouth.
Well, it's for Chelsea.
Well, he is. You can't. The craziness, everything is planned. There's nothing that he does that's just.
It's very tactful.
It's nothing he does is random. The crazy things he says, all of it is got a plan. He's got a mission. But I got sidetracked on Mourinho as usual. But
it happens. He's an
Hazard, Eden
incredible.
Hazard. The man's incredible.
I hope Man U scoop up his younger brother.
He also is a Chelsea player, though, I believe.
Youth. Yeah.
I don't know where he plays. I know that they were a package deal.
I'm telling you, Belgium is going to be ridiculous this World Cup. They're going to be a sleeper.
I have a very easy group. I forget the exact group, but I remember going, "Oh, Belgium's got a cakewalk."
Benteke and Lukaku play for Belgium. Did you remember that?
Yeah. Lukaku's hurt right now, but Benteke's kind of asleep a little bit. But yes, they have another good striker.
Marias. He's kind of a winger, but he's a great forward.
He was, I think, Everton's. No, I don't know if he was Player of the Month. I think he was Player of the Month for Everton this month. Whatever.
Anyway, sorry.
Not important. It's not important. What was important is that Hazard, Willian, and Eto'o were the only 3 attack-minded players on that field, and they ran amok. Mm. They ran amok all over City. I think it's good. It's good for the
unorganized.
City
routinely, yeah. Even with company in there, company wherever he is in the field is locked down. But around him, I don't think they're as coordinated or organized as they should be for a 1-2 team.
I think Torre was recently interviewed, and he said something. He was asked, what does City not do well, and he gave like a kind of like a little bit of a cop-out, but it was a little bit telling, that they commit too much to the attack. That if a team is good enough to break them down, they can get them on a counter because they leave themselves very exposed in the back. It's built on confidence. It's built on they are so they are so good and so strong going forward that they've built such confidence. So, but he knows, like, if that could be considered, almost paper thin confidence, because one good counterattack and now you've left Company by himself back there, or Company and
Tim McCallis or Lescott.
Or Lescott. I don't know, is Lescott even playing these days?
Once in a while.
Or
Nastic.
Yes, that's it. Nasty Nastic. Or, because Kolarov and Zabaleta both like to get forward. Zabaleta not so much.
As well.
And Clichy as well when he's playing. The left, they like the left side more so than the right. So Kolarov and Clichy like to get forward more than Zabaleta. But Zabaleta has been known to be up the field. So,
but they can all track back. They all have speed to track back. But that's what's required of the modern fullback. You have to be able to run forward, cross it in, and be able to run fast enough, track it back, and defend and tackle from behind cleanly.
I think we're also seeing why Juan Mata didn't fit into Chelsea's plan. He is not physically imposing enough.
No, he's very light
for Chelsea, for what he wants to do. His plan, I think his plan is to create a very physical, very organized and intelligent team. And I think Mata fits organized and intelligent. The physical, not so much. And I think maybe I'm giving him too much credit for the organization. I don't think Mata particularly enjoys the defensive side of the game.
No. He wants to
be a
playmaker. He's like an artist.
Exactly.
He wants to paint.
Exactly. So you start to see that now when you see Chelsea put in some of these performances. Like, where would Mata have fit in there?
He's an odd man out. You can tell
he's not as hard of a worker as Hazard.
Oh, he's everywhere, Hazard.
That's the thing. So, kudos for Chelsea. They've taken, I think, 6 points from City this season. That's a big deal. They helped Arsenal get back to the top.
The battle of the financial fair players.
or the
I was holding up finger quotes.
I was going to say that almost implies that they're within financial fair play. It's the battle of the guys trying to get back into balance, So that was a nice little game to end the week. It was good for.
Definitely.
I was able to celebrate finally.
Totally marquee matchup though of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, let's do our let's talk real talk.
Red versus red.
Red versus red. Real talk.
Oh, let's not see any blood.
You want to go first? You want to tell me? You want to give me real talk?
Real talk on what?
On Arsenal.
Well, you're stuck with your striker. Not that it's a bad thing, but you only got one, really.
We have strikers.
I forgot Lord Benteke.
Bettner.
I'm sorry.
The self-proclaimed greatest striker to ever live. That's a quote.
That's a cheese-filled Danish right there.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I want to put this out there. Bettner, of active players in the Premier League, is the second leading scorer.
Efficient what? You mean like efficiently?
No, goals. Total
all time?
Of active players.
No way.
Yeah, only behind Wayne Rooney. He's got more goals than RVP. That's a fact.
And Giggs?
Giggs is not a goal machine. Don't forget Bettner. There was a period of time Bettner was playing.
All time though?
No, not all time. Active. Of guys playing.
Giggs plays.
Yeah, but Giggs Giggs was not a goal machine, man.
Yeah, but he scored goals more. He scored a ton of goals. More than Lord Bettner?
Fact check me if you want.
We'll settle this.
I've heard that one. I've heard that one said a few times.
We're gonna have to settle this on our Twitter.
Okay.
At Soccer Yank, Dave.
Yes, I will tweet you the stats. I'll tweet you the facts.
Midfield, you really just need your trainers to come through, and you have one of the best midfields in the world. No argument. Center backs, the chemistry of the back line hasn't really been a problem all season. You just hope that the cup runs don't injure you. That's all you got to cross your fingers. It's a classic Arsenal curse.
Too many competitions, not enough depth.
Too thin.
Too thin.
I think the one striker is the scariest part because and they're jumping up, getting physical with defenders.
Well, let me give you something. Arsenal right now has 14 different goal scorers.
They don't have a problem getting it there from the midfield.
This is not the Arsenal team that from 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, where all the jokes were RVP's back is hurting because he's carrying the team. If RVP didn't score goals, Arsenal couldn't win. It was the striker's job to win the games. And now,
well, how long wasn't Walcott a big contributor this year? To the
well,
goals?
he played in the beginning of the season a few matches. Had a stomach issue. He had to go. I think he had a hernia, actually, a sports hernia or something like that, an abdominal. He had to have an abdominal surgery. Then he came back. He played 5. He had 5 matches, 5 goals, 5 goals, 5 matches. Then he blew out his knee, ACL, and he's done for the season. So he didn't play a lot.
Chamberlain just had a pretty nice game too,
Right?
He
had a nice brace.
So he's starting to.
And he played in Ramsey's position.
In the middle.
He played the box to box role. He did very well, very well.
Yeah, I hope the ankles of Wilshire hold up, and Flamini is still out for how long?
Well, he's got 3 more games. He had a 4-game suspension that they held up.
So it's Arteta's your holding midfielder.
Arteta's actually the real issue for me because of his health. It looked like he was stumbling a little bit at the end of the game versus Cardiff. Not Cardiff, Crystal Palace.
He's been a very physical player his whole career. It's starting to, I think, might catch up to him.
It's when you watch him play now, he is leggy. He doesn't like when the play is breaking and he needs to get back and he's out of position. You see, he's struggling. He's not
standing upright.
It's just that he's not as fast. He doesn't have the Fortunately for him, that he's got great vision. He's a great positional player. He knows where to be 97% of the time.
Just needs to get there.
It's that 3% of the time where he committed too far forward a little bit, and now it's like, oh no, I'm on the break. Or he's supposed to be back covering for somebody that did go on a run. So
I don't think Arsenal have to worry about anything really of losing the top 4 spot. I really don't think they're going to drop lower than 3. But
the worry is not winning the league. When all the teams are giving you the opportunity to win.
Yeah, you don't really have anything to worry about league-wise. The cup runs might be a blessing, or you wouldn't know if they're a blessing or a curse. I can go without the FA Cup personally. I know in England it's a huge thing.
It's becoming less of a thing, I think,
because what it does, and it makes the schedule odd, and it doubles up games. You're playing a Sunday game, and then you have a Wednesday game, and then you have a Saturday game, and then you're playing the Champions League. Next, if you're one of those kinds of teams that generates money that way, like Arsenal, like Man U, like Juventus, PSG, they're all going for very deep in all 3 competitions. Well, not in Man U, but
right.
I think that's good for us this year.
Let me ask you a question. By the way, I was a guest on another podcast this week on Across the Pond Radio, and this question was posed to me, and I'm going to pose it to you because I know how I feel. I'll give you my answer, but I want to hear your first. If I was Arsene Wenger, if you were Arsene Wenger, and you're in 3 competitions right now, would you consider treating them with different priorities and maybe, throwing the towel in on the FA Cup or putting out a mixed bag team for the Champions League against Bayern, the champions, or if you have some calamity in the league and all of a sudden you drop to 3rd, put all your eggs in the basket for the FA Cup. Is winning silverware priority, and do you prioritize one particular tournament or title?
I think prestige is the most important thing on the mind of an Arsenal. So I think position in England on the chart is number 1, ultimately.
The league.
The league is number 1. You have to win the league.
I think so, too. I mean, I think there's something to that. Yes.
Number 2 is definitely the Champions League, because that is also the other thing that's most important to Arsenal is generating revenue.
Right.
They have to make money, because they're not the kind of oil team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, generating revenue is very important.
and going deep into the Champions League and make it to the final and getting a cut. Even if you don't win, you make it to the final, you get a cut of it.
You become notoriety. You get better players. You get more
World
market share.
recognition.
More, right. I mean, what I told the guys on ATP was, and I gave an example, and maybe you might remember this. Last season, Champions League against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich came to London and shelled Arsenal. I think it was. I don't know if it was 3-1. I think it was 3-1. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It was a pretty bad beating. Arsenal was still struggling at the table. This was actually the trough. This was like the lowest low point. They were really struggling. Champions League, they got a horrible draw. They got beat up at home. Second leg comes. They're going to Bayern, and everyone's like, he's going to throw some young guys out there, give them a run out. Like, let's focus on the league. And what did he do? He put out a strong team, and they beat Bayern 2-0. Yeah, it was a nice show. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to advance.
But it was enough to say you don't have the best of us.
Well, it's also he's still, the league was, we weren't even in fourth, I don't think, at the time. So a conservative manager would have said, yeah, we've lost this. Let's lick our wounds, go home, and try to figure out how to get better position in the league. He looked at the match in front of him, and he said, how am I going to win this match in front of me today? And I really think that that's how he's going to approach all the competitions.
That's how you have to.
He's
That's how every winning manager in any sport.
This is the match I have today. These are the players that I have available to me. I'm going to put out the best squad, and then in a few days, I'm going to worry about it again when that comes. And if I keep worrying about 2-3 weeks at it in advance, I'm sure that you have to always kind of strategize. You have to rotate. But if you tank something, I mean, that's not in his nature, is what I think. He will not. I don't think he'll tank anything.
No, he's never going to push the pedal max and try to let the wheels fall off the wagon. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a smart guy. There's a reason why he's been there for how many years? 19?
17, I think.
17?
17.
Whatever. He'll be there for a while. Smart guy. So, what's my problem?
Which it's funny. I texted you. I said, "Do you want me to talk about United's woes?" And you responded, "What are you talking about?"
I'm past the denial phase.
Good. Acceptance. No. So Manchester United is facing I think a crisis of faith. They have a crisis of faith with their manager. I think they have a crisis in faith with their defense. I think there are players that are just not believing in the situation, in the club, in their teammates. I mean, I don't know the details, but we just recently read Vidic is on his way out. He's officially going to be done in the summer.
On the site.
Yeah, it's on the Manchester United website, so it's official. It's not a rumor. I don't know any of the details of that, but that's not a good sign. The captain is going. The problem I keep seeing is that David Moyes tactically has an idea, but I don't think he's putting his players in a position that they're able to succeed in.
We're confident enough with it.
All right. They lost to Stoke, and I have to say
that was a hard day.
It was Moyes' hands were pretty much tied when both your center backs go out injured. You lose 2 substitutions in the first half,
and there weren't normal injuries.
And what did you have to do? Well, yeah, it was a concussion and a hamstring, right?
Yeah, and it was the day after the transfer window.
Exactly. So Evans comes out, Raphael comes in. They take Smalling off the fullback duty, move him to center back. Raphael goes out to fullback. Then Jones gets a concussion.
Carrick has to go back.
Carrick has to slide back, and they bring Welbeck in. Now look at who's in your midfield.
Rooney is the deep central midfielder. He was supposed to be. He was up front before all that.
Right.
They were attacking.
So they slid Mata up, Welbeck on the left, Rooney in the middle, cleverly next to him, which is like almost like having a paper bag next to him.
Yeah.
And then on the right was why am I getting confused? I don't know. If there's one other player that I'm missing here on the equation.
Young was there.
Oh, Young. There we go. Young stayed on the left. I think Welbeck went to the right.
Yeah, they kind of flip-flopped.
But if you look at that team, their hands were tied. I mean, it's not. There's no one to protect. There's no one.
everybody was ready to run backwards because they know there was nobody back there.
Right. There was exactly.
It was just fullbacks, and everybody else has been out of position.
Or out of position players.
Smalling has been on the right side going up most of the season. Right. He hasn't been playing a holding or a deep center back, the last man. He plays up. He comes up and crosses in.
So, okay, so I'll give them the situation was awful. The deflection goal was not, 9 times out of 10, Carrick is not going to put the lazy leg out there and let that happen. He's going to take the ball in the stomach. And the second goal was, you would think that this game should have been at least a draw, 1-1. The second goal, the second goal from Charlie Adam was incredible. Charlie Adam to me looks like a guy that he looks like a guy that could easily be an extra on Game of Thrones. He's
blacksmith
covered like half in mud, and he's just like a pirate almost.
I thought he was more of a sloth from the Goonies' cousin.
He could be. He could be.
Hey, you guys!
Right when he scores a goal, right?
Yeah.
So United got a bad hand. I think they should have at least got a point out of that. But there is a problem. The real problem is Moyes is playing like we had talked about, and I'm not sure if you agreed with me, but I think I'm a little bit closer to being on point here with Rooney and RVP playing as dual strikers and having Mata come out, and he didn't put Mata centrally. He put him out in the wing. Right. And I believe Mata only had 2 passes to RVP, and RVP and Rooney the only
they
2
were
passes
right on his feet too.
Well, yeah, they were good, but the only 2 passes that RVP and Rooney had to each other were at kickoff. So they don't work well together. It's maybe they do, but they not in those roles.
Not there yet.
Not in those roles.
At least right in the midseason. I think they both play the same position at this point in their career. They're both
right. And
like
how
a center forward,
and then
a supplying center forward, not an attacking center forward. They're supplying center forwards who can shoot, who can rip it.
And you have one guy on 200,000 a week, and the other guy on 300,000 a week. And how do you tell the one on 300 that the guy on 200 is better than you? And you got to rotate with him. You can't do that. So you have to figure out a way to put them both on the field. That's the position that Moyes is in.
I wonder if they could do like an inverted triangle, like have like Fellaini as a center mid, have Rooney and RVP in front of him in the middle, have a striker alone, Hernandez or Welbeck, and have the 2 guys on the side, Valencia and
Nani or Young.
Nani.
Yeah, but with that kind of formation, you're gonna need Young and Valencia to do a ton of defensive work.
Well, Valencia tracks back constantly.
He does, but does Young. But you need those wingers. Yeah, I guess you could do like a shift from the attack more from the left side and defend more from the right side. I'm not a big fan. To me, there's too many attacking players. You have these high caliber guys. The reason why you want them is because it frees up other positions. You don't need to stack the box with strikers. You know what I mean? You don't need Hernandez, RVP, and Rooney out there. 2 of them should be enough. I don't even think 2 of them. I think 2 of them don't work. I think 1 is enough, and then you have creative guys and defensive midfielder guys behind them.
I really don't think they've ever really had enough time to gel together because they've always, at one point or another, been injured. They play together 1 or 2 games. One of them gets injured. Either it's RVP or Rooney.
Yeah.
And then another player who's another integral part of that attack that was just starting to click picks up a knock.
Well, the times where they were successful, well, first of all, they haven't beaten too many of the top teams when they both played. But the times that they were successful, RVP was the striker, and Rooney was really a central attacking midfielder. Mm-hmm. And that's when they worked. But if you accommodate Rooney in the middle, now you have to put Mata on the wing, and are you potentially creating the same exact effect with Mata that you did with Kagawa? You take a guy and you make him play with the sideline, and he doesn't want to really do that. That's not really where he likes. That's not where he's comfortable. Unless you can convince Rooney that the key is to be. You could play central attacking, but you have to switch. You have to switch out to the outside and let. It's also. I mean, Chelsea does this with their 3 midfielders. Typically, when they play Oscar, Willian, and Hazard together, the 3 of them are interchangeable. They move all over that final third. Mm-hmm. So if you can get Rooney to be okay with switching out and playing more of a wing position at times, and giving Mata the freedom to slide in, maybe that's going to work. But I don't know. When you hear Moyes at the press conference go, I don't know what else we could do to win. I felt the performance was good. You're gonna create even a bigger crisis of faith in your manager. That's not what you need to hear.
I think everybody knows the circumstances of that game. Having your two center backs go out is catastrophic.
But I think what most people would say was, yes, your hands were tied, that you couldn't make any more substitutions, but you wanted to sub out who? You have RVP, Wayne Rooney, Juan Mata. Shouldn't that be enough to take out lowly Stoke? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the crux of the matter is that he couldn't get it done with those guys. What else is it now?
I'm not trying to give any more excuses, but the weather was atrocious.
Oh, it's
everywhere.
very windy.
The
very
wind and
windy.
the rain was blowing everything all over the place.
It would have taken Lionel Messi right off his feet.
Actually, Young almost blew away into the river or the North Atlantic.
He put his arms out. It was like a parachute. So that was real talk.
So what do you got looking forward to? What are you looking forward to this weekend?
Arsenal at Anfield.
My messy paradise.
Liverpool.
Those are Stone Roses.
Liverpool is in fourth, I believe, right now, by the skin of their teeth over Everton. I think a point or two.
The Merseyside derby kind of took the wind out of Everton's sails.
Well, they bounced back this weekend and they won, but
oh, I'm sorry. One last thing. Check out the
2 points.
Check out what happened to Everton under Moyes, the progression, the Moyes effect on their season. How they always stumbled first, and then at this point of the season is where the upward point of the bell starts, and then put it over this year's Man U.
Okay, I could.
But that's for a 7th place Everton. I'm saying.
But I would say that he would also. I couldn't tell you how Everton did at the beginning of his tenure. I don't remember well enough, but I could say that he had established a stout defense with his Everton club in the last few years. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you're comparing apples and apples. Mm-hmm. I think Manchester United doesn't have the defense that he wants. I think that's where you're going to see the most reinforcement in the summertime is holding or defensive midfield position and send across the whole back line. I think he's going to reinforce the whole back line.
Yeah, I want a striker too.
Another one. Just add another one to the collection.
No, an actual striker.
Not a center forward. An out and out.
A real striker.
A Berbatov. You could get him back on the cheap from Monaco.
Nah, I like a Benzema.
You can have him. I don't rate that man. Not that much.
No.
Nah. You see, I mean, we're getting a little off topic.
Marco Reus.
Is Royce really a striker? Is he really a striker?
He's kind of a left wing striker, but I think he would enjoy.
Julian Draxler, not going to Manchester United.
He's not a striker though, is he?
He's a left winger that they all believe. This is they all believe that he will become. He's naturally gifted enough to be a striker.
They say so.
The Thierry Henry, RVP, come from the left, start from the left side and become a central striker. Back to Arsenal Liverpool. Liverpool is 2 points over Everton right now in 4th place. They need to win to. They want to. I mean, I think that they're 6 points behind 3rd. It's possible. It's possible for them to gain some more ground. I don't think they want to be in a playoff position for the Champions League. I think if they finish in 3rd, that's a real success for Brendan Rodgers, getting them back into the Champions League. And now you hit that payday. Now you're going to be able to really reinforce in the summertime, especially if you're in, because this is the dilemma that Arsenal was always in. They come in 4th. 4th is a playoff spot. People were kind of like, am I going to sign for them? I don't know if I'm going to sign for them. Are they in the Champions League? I don't know. Let's wait till August. And then in August they have the playoff, they get in, and then all of a sudden they have 2 weeks to figure out what they're going to do.
And then by that time they're thrown into a pot.
So I think Liverpool, if they can manage, I think getting 3rd to them is the title because it sets them up for success in this upcoming seasons. That being said, they've got a lot of injuries. Glenn Johnson, Daniel Agger, Sacco, Jose Enrique. I mean, there's a lot of defensive guys here that are hurt. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough to hold back the floodgates of what Arsenal and their 5-6 attacking players are going to be able to do to them. And I think I'm going to be honest with you. I think Luis Suarez gets very quiet in big games. I think he's brilliant. I think he's an amazing striker, but I think he's a bully. Meaning, against weaker oppositions, he figures them out very easily. But when he gets isolated by a better defensive team, which Arsenal is arguably the best defense. I mean, I think Chelsea statistically is the best defense, but one of the better defenses in the league. Let's just say that. Mm-hmm. I think they'll be able to hold off Suarez. And they did it already before. They did it at home again and they had Sturridge and Suarez, and they held them to 2-0. So I think that's a scoreline again, 2-0. It's going to be tough because I know it's Liverpool at home and they got a lot on the line, but Arsenal's got a lot on the line too. What's your take?
I think it's going to be a great game. I think Gnabry might have a good breakout.
That's the thing. Who are they going to start? Gnabry on the right, Oxlade in the middle again.
Coutinho has been on fire lately.
The guy's amazing.
Did you see his razzle dazzle against Everton? It was like watching like an old Pele video. Boop,
Dude,
boop, boop,
some of the
juggling and tapping it up the whole way.
Some of the balls that he feeds in, that when he cuts through a defense, it's just incredible. His vision. And the vision, not just the vision, because a lot of players can maybe see that.
The weight
on the ball, where it's just so perfectly timed.
It looks like it takes off, and then right when it's supposed to stop, it just hits its brakes.
Exactly.
And lands right on the foot.
Exactly.
It's nuts.
Diagonal. I'm a big fan of that guy. I love that guy.
Fun to watch. He should have a spot on the national team. I think he'd be better than Neymar, to be honest.
Come on, Dave. Are you nuts?
No.
Have you watched Neymar?
His role for Brazil.
But Neymar, they're different roles. Neymar plays is a left winger.
He's razzle dazzle, but I'm saying as his role on the team for Brazil.
I think Coutinho's only flaw, and I think that's something that's not. You see, like a guy like Robinho was able to overcome this, is his size. I think he needs to hit the gym. I think he needs to bulk up a little bit because even when playing for Liverpool, and I'm not saying that small guys can't succeed or are not successful, but if he gets put out in the wing where he's not going to be in the middle of the park, he's going to be dealing with a fullback that's going to bash him, and that takes a toll. So in the middle of the park is a little bit different because you usually try to be free and you're elusive, and they have a tough time finding you, or when they do find you, somebody else is open. They've created a hole. But when you're out in the wing, you're a little bit more isolated, and then it just becomes a little one-on-one, and they smash you.
Yeah.
So
want to break you. And what they do to Neymar.
Well, yeah, like what they try to do to Neymar. Robinho had a tough time when he first transitioned to England. And then the biggest thing he did was put on weight. I mean, of course, now he put on now he's been eating the pies. but that's the first thing he did was hit the gym and bulk up. So I like the guy. The Brazilian midfield is very, very crowded, and the way that they play, I don't know if he fits exactly right now.
It'd be fun to watch what he could do.
He should be an alternate. He should be on the bench. He's definitely somebody that could probably come in with 15 minutes left and make a difference.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what Manchester United is going to do against Fulham. I really don't know what my life is anymore.
I think that they should beat Fulham.
They should.
But
should have beat Stoke, too.
But Fulham is bottom. They're really,
there's
really
no more
bottom.
Berbatov.
And Clint Dempsey looks like the shell of a man.
But who's their coach?
It's, what's his face? I can't say his name. It's your boy.
But awkward silence. You got to say it.
I can't say it.
Try it.
I can't.
Just say the first name.
I don't even know the first name. I really don't. What's his name?
Renee?
Oh, that's it. Renee.
The old assistant coach for Manchester United.
I know, yes, I know. That's why.
So he knows a lot of the potential starters.
So you think he's gonna?
He might have a leg up. I'm saying he's gonna win, but I'm saying it's an advantage.
You think he's got a leg up? What's his last name? How do you say it?
Oh,
Oh, you can't say it either. That's why you couldn't say it.
No, I just didn't want to sound like
Reneg.
an idiot and not be like somebody
You're
else.
like, you know the coach, right? And you're like, come on, you know the coach. And I'm like, I can't say it.
It's like when you're at a party and you forget that person's name. You're like, what's his name?
Hey, you.
Hey, guy, surfacing. You're Swedish, right?
So no, I don't know. I think Manchester United really should. I mean, Fulham is in the. I know they made a lot of signings. Holtby from Tottenham.
Rio Ferdinand's got a lot less to worry about, I think, attacking wise.
Is he going to play?
Well, who else will? Him and
That's a good
Smalling.
point.
It's him and Smalling.
That's a good point.
And him, Smalling, Evra, and Raphael probably. Wait, no, did Raphael get a red? No, his brother did. Then he left.
Yeah, his brother's at Cardiff now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I think United wins. Wait, you didn't tell me what you think for Arsenal Liverpool though?
I think it's gonna be a draw.
It's a draw is
it's gonna
very
be 2-2.
reasonable.
I think it's gonna be 2-2.
2-2. Suarez, SNS, Sassy,
Sturridge, I think, and maybe Coutinho.
He's not much of a score sheet guy.
I think this time he might.
Okay, that's good.
I think
you know what it's going to be, right?
I think the back line is going to be committed back enough because they're going to be pushing up with Sterling, Sturridge, and Suarez, that it's going to make a big open hole at the top of the box, and I think Coutinho might go right in and pop one in.
I think with the lack of Lucas in that midfield, and it's going to be Gerrard and Henderson, they're going to get overrun by Santi, Oxlade, Ozil, and Rosicky, whoever else I want to throw out there. The Arsenal midfield they're going to overrun. They're going to overrun because they need a guy. I mean, it's not just because he's Brazilian. Because it seems like I just beat that drum. But Lucas is a great defensive midfielder, and they're going to feel his lack of presence there. Mm-hmm. Henderson can't fill in for him. And Gerrard, to be honest with you, I think Gerrard, the best thing he should do is take a step back and let somebody step up and take his role, because I think he's not the same Gerrard that he used to be.
I don't know. It looks like he's becoming a holding midfielder a little bit more.
Well, he is, but
he's supplying a lot better, and he's great from the set piece. I mean,
if
there's who else?
That's the thing. Yeah, but Suarez has been depending on where they are on the field, right?
But still, one or two. You got two completely different styles. Suarez stands over the ball, and Gerrard's like 5 feet back. You don't know. The goalie doesn't know which way it's coming.
That's true. I mean, he brings so much to the table too. I mean, it's like Lampard. Lampard keeps playing because he's bringing more to the table than the physical
tangibles. His heart and he's the captain. He's freaking Mr. Liverpool.
That's true.
He's this generation's Dalglish, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe even higher because
I think so.
English.
I think so. I mean, did Dalglish win any? Did he win the European title? I don't know what it was called back then.
Cup Winners' Cup. I think that's
well, the Cup Winners' Cup. I think there was two. I think it was called the UEFA Cup, and it used to be called the UEFA Cup. I think before the Champions League.
Yeah.
Did they win any? Did he ever win any? I know Gerrard has. That's why.
I gotta look this up. I feel terrible now. I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I don't give a shit.
I don't feel terrible. It happened. It was just like when I was a child.
I was bored. Late 80s. Anyway, we're rambling now.
Yeah.
Well, guys.
Time to cut it off.
Ladies, gents, don't forget to follow us. Please follow me, Soccer Yank Dave.
Soccer Yank Dan.
He doesn't need any help.
Follow our Twitter too, Soccer Yanks. And if you're listening to a second podcast this week, listen to Across the Pond. You can hear me. You can hear the guys, the good guys on that podcast. They do a similar thing to us. They have a good time also. They actually give you the Liverpool side of things because there's a bunch of Liverpool supporters in there and a United supporter as well.
Yeah, to each their own.
So
everybody needs a special education class. No, they're nice guys. Sorry, we're starting to banter. We're starting to banter.
Yeah, one of them is a United supporter.
Okay.
So you have some. You have.
All right, we'll balance it out. At least they got some yin and yang.
Some yin and yang. That's great. But you know where to find us, socceryanks.com. From there, you can find all the other avenues of finding us. Have a great week. Enjoy the football.
Hey, have a good one, folks.